Good morning, dear students. Let's start where we left the explanation of the chapter Packing in the previous video. We had started that George, Harris, and Jerome were going on a picnic. They were packing their things, and the humor is created the way they were packing. Now, I did. They started with breaking a cup. Now, Jerome had completed the task of his packing. Now, it is the turn of Harris and George to pack the edibles. That was the first thing they did. When they had started packing their things, they broke a cup, and that was the first thing they did. They did that just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. See, this was the thing that they could do. They knew it. How the thing should not be done, they started the things with that only, by breaking the material. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it. See, this is the best example of verbal humor. He was packing tomato bottle on strawberry, and this way the tomato was squashed up, and they had to pick out the tomato with tablespoon. So this way they had to be free from that tomato squash by picking it up with tablespoon. And then it was George's turn, and he trod on the butter. Now George did the worst thing, the blunder, that is, he kept his step on the butter. I didn't say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. Now it was the turn for Jerome to make fun of them. He knew it very well that these two people, Harris and George, were going to create this sort of extraordinary, useless things while packing. So he wanted to take benefits. He wanted to just make fun of them. This way, he didn't say anything. He did not comment on their packing, but he kept sitting there. And his sitting position was telling that he was going to make fun of them. That is why he wanted to disturb them with his presence, continuous presence, though he did not speak a single thing. It irritated them more than anything. They got irritated. George and Harris did not welcome of his arrival, and he was just sitting there not saying anything, but it was not welcomed by George and Harris. I could have said, because they were not feeling bad if he would have said something. I felt that Jerome was able to realize their reaction. It made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on things and put things behind them, and then couldn't find them when they wanted them. Jerome's continuous presence disturbed the two people, George and Harris, and now out of nervousness they were keeping their feet here and there. They were just doing the work in extreme nervousness, and their nervousness was visible. They were unable to pack things properly. They were keeping their feet on one thing or the other one. They were running behind the things and were unable to do the packing properly. And some examples are given of their packing. They packed the peas at the bottom and put heavy things on top and smashed the peas in. What they did, they just packed the peas inside and then kept heavy things on it. And as a result of that, the peas got smashed. This way they were doing the packing, just spoiling each and everything. They upset salt over everything. And as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life than they did. See, this thing they did, they spread everything, on everything they spread salt. And how they were packing the butter, it was, Jerome had never seen in his whole lifetime the way they were doing the packing of the butter. Now this paragraph is completely dedicated towards the way they did packing of butter. After George had got it off his sleeper, they tried to put it in the kettle. Actually, George has kept his sleeper on the butter, and now they were trying to keep that butter from sleeper into the kettle. See how horrible way they were doing packing of edibles, butter, and they wanted to use that butter later on. It wouldn't go in, and what was in wouldn't come out. The worst thing happened, it could not go inside, neither it could go out as well. They did scrapple it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it. But at last, anyhow, it could come out. But George kept it on the chair. First he did mistake, and next thing Harris sat on that butter. Anyhow, some part of that butter was saved, but on that also Harris sat down, and it stuck to him. So definitely it was pasted at his back, and they went looking for it all over the room. He couldn't find that because it was pasted behind him, and he was searching in the entire room. "I will take my oath, I put it down on that chair," said George, staring at the empty seat. Now George was looking towards the empty seat, and he was saying that I had seen it here only. I can swear, I had kept the butter on the seat, but it was not there because it was at the back of Harris. So the best example of verbal humor as well as the situational as well. "I saw you do it myself not a minute ago," said Harris. Even Harris was also approving that yes, I saw you were keeping the butter on the table, on the chair. Then they started round the room again looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. Then they kept on searching for the butter in the entire room, and at the center point in the room they met, staring each other, did not find the butter. "Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of," said George. "So mysterious," said Harris. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw. "Why, here it is all the time," he exclaimed indignantly. "Where?" cried Harris, spinning round. "Stand still, can't you?" roared George, flying after him. Then George found the butter, and he told Harris to stay still, so that meaning motionless, because he was moving here and there. Then he tried to took out the butter from his back. "Where?" cried Harris, spinning round. "Stand still." And they got it off and packed it in the teapot. Finally, they were capable to pack the butter in the teapot when they took it out. Now, the another mysterious character, the naughty character of this story is going to introduce, that is the dog Montmorency. And the way his description is given, that is extremely worthwhile. Montmorency was in it all. Of course, Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sawn at. If he can swim in anywhere and be where he particularly is not wanted, and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. The description of Montmorency is extraordinarily humorous. Montmorency is described as such a naughty, notorious character, notorious dog, that he felt his life is successful if he was capable to reach where he was not at all expected, where his presence is not needed, if he could